Hello, I'm Kerr. Welcome to my art studio. This week is a little bit different because we're going to look at what happens when a painting goes disastrously wrong and what can you do about it. I think you'll enjoy this one, so are you ready? I had just finished doing a big watercolour painting and I had lots of paint left over in my palette. And because I don't like wasting things, what I often do is I take a piece of paper and I use up all the paint that's on my palette to make a sort of a spontaneous painting, if you like. I never quite know what it's going to turn out to be. I have a rough idea, but in this video I'm going to show you what happened when I did this, but it didn't exactly turn out the way I wanted it to. I thought I would show you this because sometimes when we do a painting and it just doesn't work, we immediately want to tear it up, screw it up and throw it in the bin. Well, sometimes you can actually do a rescue job on it. So you watch and have a look and see what I did. I hope you enjoy it. The first thing I did was to wet the paper all over with clear water. I can't tell you the exact colours I'm using because they were just what was left over in my palette from a previous painting. So my idea was to put in some blue sky, some trees, some rocks in the foreground and some flowers. So here's the blue for the blue sky. Then I went in with some yellows and some greens to represent some trees. Splashed on a bit of dark green, letting everything merge together on the wet paper. Now a little bit of red because I want to put some red flowers over on the left-hand side of the painting. I dropped in some brown, hoping they would form rocks in the foreground. Don't quite know what I was thinking there, but there you go. And a little more of that really dark green to get some nice punchy shadows. Now in with some red to make those lovely red flowers on the left-hand side. Tip the board to let the paints run together on the wet surface. And a quick spray with some water. I took out some paint because I thought it was a little bit heavy in that area, so using a dry brush and a tissue, I took out some paint. A few more splashes with the dark green. Now I think I was looking at some really strong trees on the right-hand side. A few more red dots to make those lovely red flowers. And a bit more brown in the foreground to represent some rocks and stones. Extend the sky a little onto the right-hand side and a little squirt again with the water. A few more tips of the board, letting everything blend together on the wet surface. Not quite sure what was going on there, but we shall see. A few more darks where I wanted those tree trunks. a few extra little bits of brown to represent the stones and pebbles. Now I went in with some clear water, dripped onto the painting to deliberately cause runbacks or blooms. Oh, now some salt. It's all going on here. In goes the salt. That will push the pigment back and make little white patches. Oh, now some more clear water going in to make runbacks. Oh, now a tidal wave. Maybe that was a little bit strong. So I went in with a tissue and took some of that out again. I then left it lying flat to dry overnight, and then in the morning I would play around with it and turn it into a little landscape. So here it is, the finished painting. Yes, well, it's nothing like I wanted it to be. I was aiming for blue skies, a line of trees, some grasses and some stones and some red flowers. Well, all I can see in this picture is underwater coral. I've tried tipping it upside down, looking at it sideways, looking at it from a distance, looking at it up close, looking at it in the mirror, and I can still only see underwater coral. So, let's turn our picture into underwater coral. Now the first thing I want to do is to get rid of these hard lines out here. So with some clear water and a tissue, I'm just going to soften those lines away. This is easy enough to do when the painting's dry. Never ever try and do this when your painting is at that half dry stage, because you'll just get runbacks, cauliflowers, blooms, whatever you want to call them. But when it's dry, it's easy enough to get rid of those hard edges. So much for my blue sky, trees and lovely flowers. Still, this is what I want to show you. I want to show you that no matter what the finished picture is in your mind, if you end up with something totally different, then see what you can make out of it. Don't just screw it up and throw it in the bin and say, oh, I can't do this, this is no good. Have a look at it and think, well, maybe I can make that into something even better than what I was thinking of in the first place. Now, I don't like this. This is where the paint is sort of pooled a bit. So I'm just going to wriggle away with that with my brush as well and just soften that lightly as well. You get some horizontal lines, that might help that along. That's better. One over here as well, is not too keen on that. This is called rescuing a disaster. But it's a good thing to do, you know. Even people like me who've been painting for donkey's years, we have disasters. Don't think we don't, we do. More often than you might like to think. I don't go mad, Anne. Well, that was a bit silly, wasn't it? Oh well, it's there now. Let's have another one. Now, I don't know about you, but I can see I can see a fish there, and I can see a fish there, and I can see one there, and one there, and one there, and one there. Now there could be a big one here with its mouth open, but I think that's that's probably being a bit silly. So we'll leave that one alone. But I think I'm going to put some fish in here. Yeah. And I'm going to use some nice bright colours. Perhaps I ought to be very sensible and sketch in my little fish. Here he is. There he is. Why do we always say he? Might be a she. Oh, let's just go for it. We'll fiddle around and just go for it. You've had one disaster, another one's not going to make any difference. Okay, here we go. In a moment we'll come back and put a little black eye on there. Let's have some phthalo blue. Now, phthalo blue is a very staining colour. That's why I don't use it very often, because I like to lift my colours off the paper. And with a phthalo blue, you can't really do that. So let's have, oh look, let's have one up here. Ooh, let's have a little phthalo blue fish up here. Do you know, this is working, isn't it? I didn't plan this, I really didn't. This is trying to rescue a disaster. Again, I'll come back and put the little eye in later. Let's have some more up here. Let's have some more, these lovely red ones. There we go. Right, I'll let those dry off, and we'll put some little eyes on them, and we'll come back and put some weeds in. Let's see what we've got. Okay, that's dry now. Let's put in a little eye. Now I think we need one or two little reeds and grasses. Let's have some coming up here. Let's have it going over the fish, make it look more realistic. Nope, that's enough. Stop. Now, let's have a look. Well, what do you think, folks? I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty good. How to rescue a disaster. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, how to rescue a disaster. I think it came out pretty well, actually. Okay, it doesn't always happen. Sometimes you just have to either turn it over, paint on the back, or you do have to throw it in the bin. But don't be too hasty to do that, because it is possible you may be able to rescue it. If you've enjoyed this video and you'd like some more like it, then consider clicking that subscribe button and the little bell icon, because that lets you know when I upload another video. If you've enjoyed this one, then give it a thumbs up. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Remember, there is an artist in everyone. Goodbye for now.